Forget the countdown. We'll crop this. What's the name of this pod, Drew? Are we still calling this thing Behind the Curtain? Yeah? We'll roll
Let's
this
keep
into
rolling
Behind the
with
Curtain?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Take it away.
All right. We are back with another Behind the Curtain. We've got Drew, we've got Z, and it is awesome to have our first guest in a while. We've got Flo from UConn Rowing. Flo, thanks for being here.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Of course. We're excited. Just, Drew, Flo, before I even start, I was thinking, for the viewers, between the three of us, I wrote a little list of accolades that we have between the three of us. We've got, one gold in a under 19 rowing competition. We've got 2 more national championships. We've got 1 valedictorian. And if the viewers know anything about me and Drew,
What a resume.
yeah, that's not us. So that's who we're dealing with. And yeah, we're excited to dive into all of that today, Flo.
I'm excited to be here.
Nice.
How'd you get all these?
Sure
You guys get these about me? Oh my goodness.
I don't know. Our research team's really good. We've got a big research team in the back here.
It's massive, actually.
Yeah,
Imagine.
they're
Yeah,
actually
you really
sitting
got to
right
get
here.
nitty-gritty to find some of that.
Yeah, great for sure.
I thought you were the valedictorian of your high school.
Drew, I say that and I write that on my resume, but
Okay.
no one's actually ever called me out on it. I thought I could let that slide under the radar.
There you go.
You think people would, if you wrote it down on your resume, and you think anyone would actually call you out on it?
I don't know. Maybe they would call and then I would mistake that word for like veterinarian or something. I'd be like, and then they'd know right then. Yeah, they'd know right then that this guy didn't have a 4.0 or anything.
I did text to talk into my phone for my resume, and it heard it wrong.
Exactly.
Literally.
Oh, you know how it goes.
But Flo, let's talk some rowing. I feel like we don't know too much about you besides those facts. Just tell us about your rowing journey, how you got into rowing. The floor is yours. Wherever you want to go, we'll go.
Awesome. Well, I actually got into rowing kind of by accident. I was a big contact sport girl growing up, rugby, soccer, you name it.
Nice.
And at my high school, they really like us to, fight to the death for bragging rights. So we would do these competitions between the kids at our school. And it was all fun and games, but one of those competitions was the rowing machine. And we would do relays. There would be different categories. And they'd recruit kids. The older kids would be in charge of kind of rounding up the younger kids in high school for these competitions. And the girl who was supposed to do one of the relays broke her arm 2 days before we were supposed to go into competition. And this is a big deal. She's fast. So with no experience, they put me in, you got big shoulders, let's see what you got. And I don't do that bad. So
Apparently.
yeah, that's what they tell me.
That's awesome. Was that your freshman year?
This was my sophomore year.
Sophomore year.
Yeah,
I got that.
that's that. But so yeah, I was a little bit. Rowing's a sport that you kind of start a little bit later in life. You don't really hear of 3, 4, 5-year-olds. You hear them doing soccer. You don't hear them doing rowing, unless you grow up in a rowing family, right? But I'm super proud of myself. Approached the rowing coach the next day and never looked back.
Nice. That's awesome. How'd that conversation go? What'd you say?
Well, it was sports registration. So I met with the coach a couple weeks before, and I was I'm really interested in this, but I'm a sophomore, and most people go into it freshman year. And he's and this was COVID at the time, so he's they're kind of accepting everyone. He's give it a shot. And actually, most sophomores were beginners going into that because COVID year took the racing season. The racing season took a hit for a lot of the freshmen. Yeah, it was great. I'm here now. It's all because of those humble beginnings.
Yeah, humble for sure.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me is 3, 4, 5-year-olds aren't rowing; they're more focused on the doggy paddle.
Yeah. You
Okay.
think.
Yeah.
You've never
All right,
imagined.
cool. Yeah,
I love that visual though. I
Yeah.
love that visual of three,
Yeah.
4 and 5.
4-year-olds just like hitting
Can you
like this.
imagine? Oh my goodness. When I was 3, 4, 5, I was probably practicing for the swim test for the rowing team.
You're still trying to float. Yeah.
Exactly.
You're literally trying to float at that
Yeah,
point in your life.
finding my float.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. That was a good quote.
There you go.
I like that.
That's you.
Nice. So then what? Like you talk to your coach. You're on the team. He says give it a shot. Sophomore year. What's the specs of the rowing team?
Not to interrupt, but
Oh.
I think people need to understand something. Is we did a little research too on the coach, and it's not like you're just going up to any Joe Schmo high school coach.
No.
When this is going on, your coach was, I think, a 4-time Olympian, correct?
Wow, you guys really did your research.
Coach,
Yeah.
what is it? Coach Calder?
Actually,
Coach Calder, yeah.
you know what? Coach Calder didn't come in until my junior year. So,
Okay.
but still, the coach that I spoke to had a really impressive resume. Brian Carr, who was head coach at the time, still coaching now. But his dad, like, found the rowing program at this club. And, combined, they probably have way more experience than some people are alive right now. And, yeah, no, they're great. Mr. Carr's great.
Wow. Again, Flo just being humble. Like,
Yeah.
again, our research team did some stuff. And they found out that Brentwood, right? Is this the school we're talking about?
Yeah.
Brentwood school, Canada. Where in Canada was it?
British Columbia.
Vancouver.
I didn't
Right.
even tell the viewers I'm not from here.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
haven't even
that's
gotten
true.
to that. That's a
I
whole
feel like
nother.
that's like my party trick in the United States is telling people I'm from Canada, and that just really starts the
Pretty
conversation.
trick.
Yeah.
That is a great
like that.
conversation starter. But Brentwood is like rowing city. I'm not familiar with too many other like big time rowing schools, but what is it, like 25 Olympians have come from there and some gold medalists as well? That's crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
I
And I mean, you hear about it when you start at Brentwood, but just to be able to have like experienced it and played a role in that is just like you don't really think of it while you're in it, like the history that you're making, but it's
That's
crazy.
awesome. All right,
Rowing you up there right outside Vancouver, Canada. That's crazy.
Yeah, we were actually on the little island right next to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
awesome. That's
yeah, you guys really did do your research.
And yeah,
We
so
got
I'm
We've got
curious.
a team of 100 in the back here. That's
Yeah.
just-
These guys
Facts.
typing away all day long,
And
trying
I
to figure
was
things
taking
out.
notes. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. not me, no.
So you're originally from Quebec, correct?
I am. Yeah.
Okay, and then you moved for high school in the boarding school. So that you're going from one side of Canada to the complete other side of Canada. What was that like? Like, when did you decide that that was the school you wanted to attend, or was it always kind of just your path, or was it just kind of out of I want to go here just for some reason?
I think for some reason, I think COVID definitely played a big part of it, and how like my public schools were, shaping up to be post-pandemic. But another part of it was that I actually lived in British Columbia for a while.
Okay.
My dad works in immigration, so we moved around a lot growing up. So I tell people I'm from Quebec because it's where my family's from. I spent a lot of time there. But when I originally wanted to go to boarding school, I left with the impression that my family was still going to be pretty close. And I was really lucky that I had the opportunity that they were able to send me there. And then 2 years into my move, they moved to Florida.
Wow.
Yeah. But
Classic parents moving to Florida.
getting away from their problem child, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Any other
Literally
moves?
moving from like corner to corner. Like you're in
Yeah.
British Columbia, they're in Florida over here. So going as far away as they possibly could from.
Yeah. You said moved around a lot. Like what? Any other moves?
I guess China was a pretty big one.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to.
talk about
We're gonna
that.
have to
When-
fire. We're gonna have to fire some
That's
researchers.
my life story.
We're gonna have to fire some researchers. No one
We
found
are.
that China move somewhere in
Yeah,
there, so
pretty
we're gonna have to.
unnecessary.
We're gonna have to give some pink slips at the end of this interview.
But yeah, like I said, COVID played a big part in it, and Brentwood is a really renowned school, and like I said, super lucky that I was even able to get the chance to go there. But yeah, once you get there, the rowing team is a big conversation. So it was just really exciting to get the chance to row for them.
So how's your Chinese then?
Oh goodness, not as good as it used to be.
Okay.
Not as good as it used to be.
How long were you over there?
I was there. They moved back and forth between Quebec and China between the time I was born and my sister. So we have 2 years of difference. But we moved to British Columbia 2010, 2011. So I say we were there a good couple of years. But
That's crazy.
I did learn Chinese before I learned English. So a little fun fact.
Wow. Okay.
That's a very fun fact. That's
Yeah.
And do you have any French in your system too, given that you lived in Montreal?
I'm completely fluent.
See, now, not to get too excited, but
Oh, boy.
I did take French for 6 years, but
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty poor at it.
All right.
I'm-
Do you want to practice?
I'm pretty poor. No, I do not want to practice. Not on camera.
All
But
right.
I am considering
record.
getting back into Duolingo.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I need to have some outlet, not English.
All right, that's so funny you say that. I just hit 220 days today. So
Wow.
I'm
In
doing
what language?
it. Spanish. Just for fun.
That is insane.
you gotta catch up. We can make it a thing.
Yeah. So okay. So we're not sponsored by Duolingo. So we're
But
gonna.
Duolingo, if you're watching,
Please.
come. You're welcome anytime.
But I hear people say that it's really easy. Like it's they learn so much more in like a year of doing Duolingo than they did in like 6 years of taking in middle school through high school. What's your thoughts on Duolingo? Like, are we pro Duolingo or are we con Duolingo
Oh
for
my
a guy
goodness.
looking to start Duolingo?
I'm definitely pro Duolingo. I feel like I've done it for so long that I have to be. But
Okay.
it's evolved so much not even since I started, but just like in the last couple of years. Like you can speak to it now. You can have like AI phone calls with like the characters and the language. I'm like, oh my goodness! Like it's as if you were in a class, or I don't know.
Yeah.
You learn a language
like those-
by living it,
Yeah.
but like that's
Yeah.
giving you the full experience.
Wow.
It's like the textbooks from your high school of like came to life and they're now like speaking to
Exactly. But it works for me. Like it's so much more engaging. I don't want to read it off a page.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
you. Yeah. I 100% agree. That's
I knew-
why I still don't remember French 4 years later.
You know what? Get back into Duolingo. Here you go.
That's right.
This is your
I
moment.
knew I was going to have a couple takeaways after this thing. Duolingo being one of them was not on my bingo list. But
Maybe that's
I think
the
I'm going to get
fourth
back into it. You know, I had a 3-day streak once upon a time, and I gave up.
It's
That's
hard.
That's all right.
It's hard. I've had to
Yeah,
use a lot of
220 is sick, so I'm going to have to get back on that immediately.
there was a couple days missed where I didn't pay for it, but you can earn like these streak freezes. So like you can freeze a day and like just keep going so you don't lose your streak.
Okay.
Okay.
The whole thing's
So
a
little
sham
bit of-
now. It's a fake
So
220.
yeah, I feel like I just exposed myself there, but
No.
I have been consistent.
That's
And
awesome.
220 is impressive no matter what.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you, thank you.
That's awesome.
Okay, so maybe we should get back into rowing.
So maybe
Talk a little,
Maybe.
talk a little
Maybe
bit
just
about
a little
rowing.
bit.
So,
Maybe just a little
Okay.
bit.
so
all right.
coming from our perspective, I think in general, like rowing is one of those sports that you don't necessarily hear a lot about, and it's I think after doing some research into it, honestly one of the most challenging like team oriented sports you can possibly join, just because one person starts rowing too much, you're literally taking a left turn and you're going off the beaten path. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So. What would you say to someone who may not be necessarily as in the know on what rowing is, and how would you explain like the day of a tournament to someone or the day of a race? Like, what is that like for you?
Do you know what our tournament days are called, Drew?
Yeah, race days.
Races.
He was telling me.
Race
he was
days.
telling.
For sure. Our regattas?
Oh, regattas. Okay, that's not a word I'm familiar with, but
No,
maybe
dude, you were
now.
just telling me that before recording. You just
Lesson
told me it
number
was.
one.
Oh, right, regatta. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I know exactly what they're called.
We were just talking about that.
So how would I explain rowing to someone that has never rowed before? You're going backwards. I feel like that's like the first thing that kind of takes people by surprise is that we're rowing the boat backwards. and we've got a little person at the front yelling at us and steering at us in the right direction. So really,
Who would that be? Who would that be, Flo? Who's that?
who would that be? A coxswain. Good job. Point
That was a
through.
layup for Drew over there.
Yeah, he redeemed himself.
Jack.
But yeah, in terms of logistics, there's the different kinds of boats, different kinds of oars. Just like physically, it's like you said, it's very, very team oriented, and like one person's at a time, whole boat feels it. You don't always know who it is, but you feel that there's something off. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, have you ever, like, in the middle of a race, you're like, oh, I know she's off, like, I know it, and like you're just getting like kind of like you're steaming a a bit just here, like, or do you ever like
fuel to the
just
fire?
powering?
But depending on
just
where you are in the
powering
boat, sometimes you can see it. But yeah, honestly, yeah, during a race, like when you can't really stop to kind of reassess. In soccer, you can sub off, give your players some feedback, get back in the game, take the game back. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But during a race, if something's off, someone's off, like you either keep going, stop, which gets you in a lot of trouble, or, like I said, add fuel to the fire, pull a little harder because you're a little mad.
Nice. That's epic. That's epic. So what you guys are going backwards. You're all facing. Maybe we'll even throw a diagram here. You're all facing the coxswain, right? And then what are they yelling? They're saying something, right? They're trying to keep the troops in order. What are they saying? How does that work? Yeah, just tell me that.
Honestly, it's a lot of things.
Okay.
A lot of encouragement is mainly like what's expected of coxswains is the encouragement and the steering. Make sure we don't crash and to make sure we keep going. We keep rowing. The kinds of things that they say would probably depend on the coxswain.
Uh-huh.
But pretty much I've been lucky enough to work with coxswains that are very adaptable to feedback. So like a very important part of the coxswain is, you're talking a lot, but you also have to listen twice as much to your crew and, what they want, what really fuels their fire, because a coxswain can be yelling, everything right. But if it doesn't resonate with your crew, then maybe you got to change tactics. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome. I can't think, I can't think of another sport, and there's so many out there. That's that. There's a lot of team sports, but I can't.
Nothing like this.
Yeah.
You're really you get on the boat and you're out there. There's no looking back. Like, I was trying to think of the same exact thing, Z, where like, in football, like you have, the linebacker who calls the play in the huddle or something like the quarterback, but he's still talking to the head coach, like the coach in his helmet. Yeah. And there's no like you're really the coxswain is at that point literally the head coach in the moment, and that's a lot of responsibility, especially for a college athlete.
Mm-hmm. And they start young. Some of them can start as early as 7th grade, and it's a lot of pressure.
Oh my
for
God.
Sure.
Oh my God. That's a whole different.
Yeah. Even though
that's a whole different world.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And like you said, there's so much expectations from the coaches because you are the coach out there,
Right.
Especially in race situations, In practice, you'll have the actual coach, beside you. Right. But no, so much respect for coxswains for sure.
Damn, awesome. I didn't. So is there like a coxswain academy somewhere that like they just pump coxswains out? I
feel like the actual coxswains would be better speaking about this than me.
Okay.
But
well, there you go. Maybe we'll have to have a coxswain on.
I think we'll have to. I think it's a must.
No, absolutely. I can put you in touch with tons of them.
Well, you're speaking our language, Flo.
Hey, it's connection. You're making connections. I just updated my LinkedIn profile, so I've been working on my connections too.
Wow, that's big for our researchers.
That's awesome.
Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Actually,
find me. I just kind of plugged you in another outlet where you can find me.
There you go.
Hey, Flo, you think too little of our research team because they went all over your LinkedIn.
If they were able to find that much about me,
Yeah. Again, it's a team of 100 in the back, so they've got.
Oh my goodness!
They've got a lot of time to do. They've got a lot of time to do some research.
Yeah.
But Drew, should we shift over there because there was some really interesting stuff on there, or do you got one more rowing thing?
No. I think rowing it's going to be a continuous topic as we go.
I like that.
But speaking of the LinkedIn, our very large research team found.
They found my LinkedIn.
Well, yes. I mean, it's your first and last name.
Duh.
They found a little mission trip that you took with an organization called Advocates for Love. Is that correct?
I did, yeah.
And you went to Dominican Republic. Is that correct?
I
So
did.
tell us a little bit about that experience. You know, what you learned there, what you did, how the overall trip was, and how you think it rounded yourself and pushed you forward. And I'd love to hear a little bit about the trip.
Of course. I get emotional talking about that trip sometimes. I took it twice.
Okay.
So for 2 years, for like a week and a half in the summer, I would go to the Dominican Republic with this incredible organization, Advocates of Love. And it was a mission trip, essentially, but we'd also just kind of connect with that community in so many other different ways. It's like we would run church services for the kids. It was definitely youth-oriented. And since it was the summer, we'd also run camps for them and, organize games for them. We'd have them over every afternoon. It was normally like morning was church, afternoon was play, and then nighttime was just to like hang out and get to know everyone. And it was magical. Like, I think I would do it over again, like, no question.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What type of like camp? What type of games are we playing? What are you teaching them?
Oh my goodness. Well, the game that I remember the most, because I got my head stuck in the shirt, was there's 2 lines, and it's a race. And the idea of these games is to get as many kids involved as possible from like all ages. And so you have a shirt, and you have to like pass it down the line as fast as you can. And I can't remember, I think you're allowed to use your hands, but it's just like the overall theme of the week is just like teamwork and connection and just like getting to know each other no matter what background everyone came from. The water balloon fight was pretty cool too, I gotta say. Really messy to clean up, but really fun.
Nice. I like the contrast in games there. One's all about teamwork and the other's about throwing.
It's like, hey, you gotta fight for your team sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Applies to rowing too.
Nice. Yeah.
But no, it was wonderful. I could talk about those kids all day.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, I think part of our thing is we like to go back and forth between fun questions and like kind of more challenging questions. And,
Please.
I think especially, not that challenging, it's just talking about yourself. So,
That's hard.
I think, obviously, you're a freshman at UConn. What would you say was the hardest part of transitioning from a high school student athlete into a collegiate student athlete? And maybe, you haven't had any trouble because, you're a valedictorian, gold winner, all these things. But if there was anything, like, what would you say? I know your practices, if people don't know this, rowing is 5 a.m. in the morning,
5
all the time. Yeah. Yes, 5 a.m. in the morning, yes.
Yeah.
5 a.m., I don't know how many days a week that you're up at that time, but it's grueling, and that's obviously something that you have to deal with being a college student, but also having that responsibility to be there and awake in the morning and being at practice. So I was just curious what the transition's been like for you and how that's been going.
I think in terms of like I did go to boarding school for high school, so in that aspect, like being away from home and living with someone else, I'd already kind of adjusted to. I think it was just the transition to a new environment and adapting to new people and new places, which I guess is not much of a challenge to me anymore. I actually get really excited about moving to new places and kind of seeing how I can make new communities feel like home. But definitely challenging just kind of overall is being away from my family for so long. I mean, like most people stay in high school in their hometowns, and I was so lucky to be able to take on an opportunity that was outside of my hometown. But it's definitely challenging sometimes when I have a really good relationship with my parents that I've built for a long time, and obviously my baby siblings are like always on the forefront of my mind. So just kind of being able to balance, like, I'm doing really good work here and I'm working really hard to kind of take advantage of all these opportunities that I'm so lucky to have. But just always like remembering where I came from and knowing that like these people that are counting on me like are also so important to me. And I think it kind of keeps me grounded in that. So I don't know if that counts as a challenge, but
No,
it's
that,
something
that's
That was awesome.
yeah,
That was awesome.
that was a
that
really
was
really
every
great
day.
answer. Yeah, that was a great answer. No,
Like 5
and
a.m. wake ups don't get easier. Don't
no
get any
doubt.
easier as well.
Yeah. So
Right,
when
right.
it is 5 a.m. or when you set that alarm and you're in bed and
Mhm.
you're like, dude, I do not want to get up today. Like today is just today's not the day. We've all been there, you know.
Yeah.
What what gets you out? What juices you up? What are you like? You know what, Flo? Lock in and
Yeah.
go attack the day.
No, there are some days I open my eyes and I'm like, already? My alarm is already going off.
Yeah.
You do one
Uh,
of these, like,
yeah,
oh God,
sometimes my
please.
roommate will turn over and look at each other and be like, "Oh, it's the
Uh,
morning."
Tough.
um,
Yeah.
but my teammates, like since the start of my rowing career, like in high school, I would do these 5 a.m. wake ups too, and even now I can say the same. Like it's those girls that I wake up for. Like
Yeah.
rowing is like it's such a team oriented sport, like nothing I've ever done before, because like everyone and no one is counting on you in a sense.
Mhm.
Everyone's counting on you in the boat, but the mental battle is so individual. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
While working for a greater purpose. It's very confusing, but very beautiful. um, but yeah, definitely just showing up and knowing that it is hard to wake up at 5 a.m. and it is hard to do some of those workouts, but I'm not doing those workouts alone, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And
Totally.
I think what you said there is so important in athletics in general. It's just the idea of,
yeah.
pushing for your personal pursuits while also being there for a team. And
Absolutely.
they're the ones who push you and you're the ones who push them. And I think it's something that it's really hard to get outside of the world of sports and athletics. And especially when you're doing it at such a high level like you are, it almost drives you a little bit more.
Yeah.
Which is, I loved when you said that. I thought it was such a perfect kind of characterization of what sports is like for a lot
Yeah.
of people.
Yeah, and
Um,
even like when you get out of that sport, like you take it to so many different aspects of your life, right? Like that team. I don't know if you guys played sports growing up, but like that teamwork, that discipline, like you can take that into jobs. You can take that into even this. You guys are both so well spoken, but you guys can take it into this too. Like it's awesome.
those are our researchers.
Yeah, yeah. It's the team behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
But a follow up question on that is, I think
Yeah.
it's kind of changing gears a little bit, but I'm
Mhm.
staying in the college athletics world. Obviously, the world of college athletics is changing every day right now. And I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of Olympic sports that may, kind of be getting put in the back seat to a lot of larger sports. So I'm just curious, like, from I know it's kind of vaguely connected, but what's your like recruiting process like? Like, I'd love to know a little bit more about that, just because for your state, like, what were you looking for in a school? Why did you choose UConn? What was it about this rowing program that really was like, I want to go there? Because obviously, you went to school on the other side of the country in Canada, and Connecticut is a small school. Like UConn's a small school, and not necessarily small, but in the middle of nowhere, Connecticut.
Yeah.
So like, what was the recruiting process for you like? How did it all go down? And what was your key indicators for I need to go to this school?
Yeah, no, really good question. So, I guess in Canada, when my parents moved to the States, I kind of always knew that I wanted to kind of come back, or I guess go in the
Right.
vicinity
Yeah.
of where they were. So when I began my recruiting process, it looked a little bit different than some of my teammates, because I know, a lot of Canadians end up going to Canadian schools. And I was really lucky that year. There were a couple of other girls following, like we were all following each other into that U.S. recruiting process. So we had a lot of support behind us, our parents, our coaches, our teachers even. And so we were really well grounded and supported in that. So I think what I was looking for in a school was location. Location was huge to me. And Connecticut's kind of a really nice spot between Quebec and Florida. So I got my extended family in the north, my close family in the south. And so it was just like a really ideal spot for me. And obviously Connecticut's a renowned school in academics and athletics and their student life. But I think what really solidified it for me was when I came and like stepped foot on the campus for the first time. Because like you don't really feel the life of the school through recruiting calls. And like our recruiting coordinator, Audrey, is amazing. So high energy, so kind, so well-spoken. And when she brought me here, I just knew immediately this was the school for me. Like the life here, and when I met the team, I already felt like I was a part of it. Like they brought me in, and I couldn't have asked for a better place to end up, 6-7 months in.
Nice.
So,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Without even realizing it, Flo, the UConn recruitment department is going to clip that. Is going to clip that.
I'm going to end up on an Instagram of some sort.
They're going to send it to every possible recruit. That was great.
Did they take you down to Coventry Lake and go, this is where you're going to be all the time?
Actually, that's the one place they didn't take me. I know this year they took a couple of recruits to where the new boathouse was going to be, because that's what they're working on their building right now, but I actually never went to Coventry when I came. I kind of just trusted that the lake was beautiful and awesome.
Yeah.
But
Coventry Lake is a beautiful place.
we're hoping that she's going to be defrosted or like unfrozen by the time we get back from spring break so that we can row on it.
Nice.
But yeah, recruiting process is, as you can imagine, a lot of calls, a lot of emails. Honestly, I think it taught me probably the most, like up until that point in my life, of how to adult a little bit. I mean, other than living away from home, like you're in it, you're communicating with adults and you're coordinating these calls, and sometimes you're traveling across the country to like see these schools and know like where you're going to live for the next 4 years. So yeah, it was great.
I feel like the recruiting process too can be awkward for a lot of people, because it's the first time you're really like advocating for yourself in a lot of ways.
Exactly.
Especially when people are like, why should we recruit you? Like those kind of hard hitting questions. You know what I mean? That you're not used to answering. So I think it's a space for growth for a lot of people.
For sure, and that rejection, like. It's like a job and a career in the real world. Like you're also not used to that rejection yet, or maybe you are,
right.
But I definitely wasn't. And there were definitely some very awkward moments in that process where I was like, like maybe it's me. But I just know that it all led to me, coming to the right place and coming to where I was supposed to be. So
that's awesome.
All right, what do you think about one more juice question, Drew?
Well, I think we have to do our rapid fire questions.
Yeah, we've got a rapid fire. So we've got some
fire. Okay, hit me.
But these are more fun. But
okay. So we're gonna do rapid fire questions. All right. So we have 6. All right, and these are things that we came up with. Our research team mostly did the work. But
you guys got to give yourself some credit too. What did you?
No, it's all good. It's all good.
No, go research team though.
Yeah. So we're gonna just hit them. And then first thing that comes to your mind is going to be the answer. Okay, they're rowing.
You run through them.
Rowing,
you run through them, Drew.
Yeah, they're rowing adjacent. I would say.
Okay. Are they like would you rather, or are they?
There's some stuff like that.
Okay,
yeah.
You're gonna surprise me.
I think we just got to go. Okay?
All right.
I think that's the best way to go about it. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the funniest thing you've ever seen floating in the water?
Oh, an Apple Watch. I don't know if that's funny, but a little bit
funny. Okay, what's harder, explaining to others what a coxswain is or rowing in a thunderstorm?
Never rode in a thunderstorm, so probably explaining a coxswain.
Okay. Do you ever judge people's rowing form at the gym?
Only because I work at the rec center, and I have
no.
And the rowing machines are right in front of me.
That was a yes. That was always going to be a yes.
I never judge, but if they ask, I will absolutely help them, which I've been asked before.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I didn't know that's such a perfect question in that world. Okay.
Right.
Would you say that it's true that rowers are the original cold plungers?
The original cold plungers? Ooh.
You know how cold plunge is taking over the world now. Everyone's cold plunging left and right. Everyone's in the morning. You wake up at 5 a.m. and you're basically cold plunging every day.
That's true, but not in the water.
Yeah, but you get splashes and gets on the face.
True. Okay, I'll say yes. I'll say yes because I have been drenched and still above water. So
I can't wait till we take this to the cold plunge community and just see how
I'm gonna get ripped. Okay.
Okay. We won't let that happen.
Yeah, no. Okay, so if rowing had post-race celebrations, like a touchdown dance in football, what would yours be?
Oh. See, first thing that comes to mind is because my brother's a baseball player. He's a big, like, gritty fan when he scores a touchdown. Not touchdown, home run.
Yeah.
I'd probably do, I call it campfire. So
Okay.
like, when you touch down in rugby, you, like, spin the ball and you, like, all,
Yeah.
like, on top of it. So I feel like
I
that'd be
love
good.
that.
A tornado in the water and, like,
Okay. Yeah. The
That's
team's
great.
not gonna like get together and like spike the boat or something like that.
just flip the boat. Flip the
Yeah.
boat at cheering.
Okay, and this is the last one. If you had last one of the rapid fires. If you had to choose one person, dead or alive, to be your coxswain for one day, who would it be?
Oh, good question. I feel like her name's Kristen Kitt. She was the Canadian coxswain, the Olympics.
Okay.
The Olympic Canadian Women's 8, I would pay to be a fly in her boat for a day.
Okay. I like that.
That's
You
awesome.
will
What
get
about
to
her?
know
What about her was like
Yeah.
so
I don't
awesome?
know. Well, I met her once. She's feisty. She's great. She's kind, and she cares about her crew. And she's, I don't know, she's like renowned in the Canadian world and hopefully everywhere now that they have like a silver and a gold medal in the Olympics. But no, I would love to hear like what she tells her athletes. I know it's a real coxswain, but you said dead or alive, so
Nice. No, that's
No,
perfect.
that's fine. That's perfect. I mean, I would have won I'm gonna go Arnold Schwarzenegger, but that's just me.
who's that?
Like, Arnold? Arnold?
Yeah.
Like the actor? Arnold Schwarzenegger? Like the actor?
You know him. You definitely know him, Flo.
You know
Terminator?
Arnold.
No,
The Terminator? Arnold.
that reminds me of
that probably didn't help at all, but
no, definitely not. I'm gonna have to go put together my own research team to do this in a second.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, that might be the biggest thing that I got out of today is that you don't know who Arnold is.
No,
Wow.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
You know who I think would be hilarious in a coxswain seat though is Kevin Hart. I don't know what would come out, but I don't know.
Kevin Hart.
I like
There are
that.
times
Really good.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's so funny. That's awesome.
Okay, I like that. I like the Kevin Hart answer. I like all those answers. Okay,
I'm
Z,
gonna
we
have to
have
go with Arnold now, but
one last draft. Z, you want to do this one? This was your brainchild.
Oh yes. All right. We've got one more. So first
All right.
technical question for you, Flo. In
All
rowing, we've got like crews of 4 and 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any main difference just besides like just the number of rowers? Is there anything like
Number of people, feel of the boat's definitely different.
okay?
Just in terms of like I guess I should say connection. 4, you've got less people that you have to connect with, and 8, you have more.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah.
So for the sake of this following, game we're gonna play, without even knowing what it is, I want you to choose. Are we assembling a 4-person crew or an 8-person crew?
Let's assemble a 4.
Okay, 4 it
I'm
is.
sure.
4 it is. So we're going 4 people. Don't include yourself here.
Okay.
We're going animated characters.
Ooh,
All right. I need you
okay.
telling me a coxswain, a rower. I need all 4.
All right. Okay, so in like the front like lineup, you normally want, strong technical rowers,
Sure.
a lot of strength in there. First thing that comes to mind is Bugs Bunny for some reason.
Okay.
He's pretty athletic, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Flo.
Great basketball
Flo.
player in Space Jam. He's
You know-
awesome in Space Jam.
Yeah.
Did you just Bugs Bunny? Okay. I like it.
I'm gonna have to think back though to like my childhood shows.
I mean, Flo.
I mean-
if we're looking for strength here and we're talking Bugs Bunny, I mean,
No, but like the athlete in him, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Okay, sure.
It's also
I got a
like
good one.
aerobics. It's physics.
I got a good one.
I'll say.
I got-
All right, let's hear.
I think we need Popeye in there somewhere.
Wow.
Ooh, strong
I
choice.
think because you don't want a lot of weight in the boat either. So, but he's all muscle. He's like 96% body.
He is.
muscle. Like
Yeah.
4% fat. Like he's
Absolutely.
chiseled. I
Yeah.
think you want him in there somewhere.
All right.
Yeah, Drew brings up a good point about the weight because I was thinking about some bruisers. Like I was thinking
No.
Shrek. I was thinking
I was thinking Shrek too. I was like, that's so funny you just said that.
Let's go like somewhere in the Mario world. Like there's got to be someone over there.
Ooh.
That
Yeah,
could do
Bowser.
that.
Is that his name? The big one with like the scales on the back, or like
The turtle.
That'd be
Yeah, the
him.
turtle with the shell.
That'd be him. I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to talk a little feisty guy, Toad, he's a little feisty guy.
Yeah, he would be like.
Coxswain seat though. Yellow
Yes.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes, I like
Yes.
that. Toad in the coxswain. I like that a lot.
Because he's definitely got an edge to him. He's got an edge to him. He's a nice
Sure.
guy, but he's got an edge to him.
After what he went through, come on,
Yeah, I mean, have you ever seen that? You see the story of Toad?
dude. I've seen the story of Toad.
He's like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that guy has grit to him. And tenacity.
We got
We want
Toad.
him in the boat.
We've got
yeah,
Toad.
we've
We've
got-
got
we have
Bugs
4.
Bunny. So what are we looking for? Give me characteristics, skill sets. What do we want in our last 2 crew members here?
Oh,
We're in the back of the boat now. We're in the back.
yeah. Back of the boat, you want technique. You want 2 people that match up really well together to kind of set the boat for those front people, setting the
Whoa.
pace. You know what I'm saying?
We're talking connections, like
We're talking technical. We're down. You guys are professionals now. You had a whole hour.
like. But if we're talking like people who are connected, like we got to think like brothers or like
Ooh.
siblings or something, like Mario and Luigi, but they're not like big strong guys. Like we want
Like,
people who can.
anywhere.
We
Yeah.
want big backs, right?
Yeah.
Do you have someone in mind over there?
I feel like who's over there?
Drew. I feel like he's got a brother duo in mind.
No, I don't right now. But
Okay.
I'm trying to think of like guys who are like, I think like just big, strong back and pull the boat, but also kind of smart too.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be brothers. That was
Ninja Turtle, probably.
whoa.
Right?
That's
Game
a great
over.
pull.
Game over.
But
There's
what?
4 of
But
them.
what two? What
Yeah.
two though?
Unless the 4 of them are
I mean,
4.
I think that's also a great answer. The 4 Ninja
that's
Turtles.
a good
My God.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Toad
Yeah.
and Bugs Bunny. Thanks for coming. See you later.
yeah. You're out. You're
Oh
out.
God. Wow.
Yeah,
That's a great
that was
answer.
good
I didn't,
stuff.
I didn't see that coming. I mean, yeah. Leonardo. He's the leader, right? He's got to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a Raphael.
Raphael.
Of course, there's a Raphael.
They're all
Well,
famous painters, aren't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Nice. That was fun.
That was
I like
great.
that a lot. I like that a lot.
Okay, I like that ending. Flo, we've had you for 42 minutes here. Okay,
Wow. Time flies.
when you're having fun, I know it does. What? This is going to be our last question, and then we'll send you off into the evening. I know you got a 5 a.m. practice tomorrow. So, our last question is: what is your ultimate goal when it comes to rowing? Like, what is when you lay your head down at night and you're like, I'm getting up at 5 a.m. Like, what are you going like? I want to look back at my career and be like, okay, I did this. That was what I wanted, and I achieved that.
You ready for such a cheesy answer?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
I just want to know that I had fun. Like, I feel like in high school, my ultimate goal was to go D1. That was like US D1 school, and I worked hard, worked my butt off, and I made it. Now that I'm here, I'm still going to work my butt off. You know, I'm still going to have all these connections and do all these good things to make my team faster. But at the end of the day, like, how lucky am I to, know these girls and to have this sport that, like, why wouldn't I enjoy it while I have it, So,
Nice.
yeah, the trophies are great, and that's definitely what we're going for this season and every season after that I'm here. But, when I look back on my college career, I want to be like, damn, we worked really hard, but, like, we did it together.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You don't talk like a freshman, Flo. All your answers have been
Yeah.
amazing. It's been
Thank you.
a pleasure to talk to you. This was so much fun.
No, it's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
Not only did you tell us about rowing, but you helped us, or you're going to help us get our Duolingo sponsorship ready for
Oh,
next
yeah.
week.
Yeah, no, hit me up if you need tips. I've been in it for a long time. I feel like I need a cake when I hit 365, like when I hit a year on Duolingo.
You do.
do
If today's
something.
220, we're going to put our research.
Let us know when you get to 365.
Yes,
Yeah,
we need to calculate what day that is, though, because I don't know.
Our research team will take care of it. They'll
Yeah.
they'll
They're already
remind
on
us, and then we'll do
Perfect.
something special for day 365. We'll do a
Awesome. We'll do a special episode or something.
Yeah, love that.
165 days from today.
Write that down.
Somebody,
Yeah, someone's got to put that somewhere.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
like 2 days after moving, I'm pretty sure, so we'll be
Perfect.
right back at it sophomore year.
We'll be waiting there with the cake. It says
Exactly.
congratulations on
I thought you were
360.
trying to be a coxswain for a second. This is how they
Maybe
start.
he was. Maybe he was.
You already got the
I'm
technique.
I'm just doing it without even knowing. That's all
Exactly.
it is.
You're
That's an
spot
hour
on.
with you.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
All right. It was
All
so
right,
great
that was a lot of
Flo.
fun.